Hello everyone, welcome to the very first video of Go Magic series. So this series features all kinds of super cool and fun problems in the game of Go. And then all we're going to be doing is life and death. We're going to be solving incredibly amazing problems and then have fun. So today our first problem is a super cool escape by black. So at first glance, we see that there's an eye for sure for black at b6. We cannot break this eye. But where's the second eye for black? This is a huge question because we can see that from the top, there's no way out, right? White has sealed this completely. If we look at the corner over here, white is also alive. This corner has no problems. If black peeps in, white can descend. We can obviously tell that white's going to have two eyes, so that's no use. The corner is alive. And then, obviously, last move, white plays a tiger's mouth. This looks so alive for white. And then here, what's going on over here? If black turns, white's going to hane. This is a 3 liberties versus 2. This is no use because white can just descend. I mean, anything works. White can also go from the outside. There's no problem. So basically, black cannot get out. Then at this point, is it a time for black to resign? Let's say, for example, if black turns here, play this one, none of this is going to work out. I mean, white's just going to capture 2 stones. I can give you a move, but you just can't make an eye, right? This is obvious. So I guess without further ado, let's present the solution. The idea for black is to, first of all, gain the P1 and the P2 move both, right? So if black is not able to gain the P1 and the P2 move, it is very difficult to make an eye here. As we've presented, everywhere else it's hopeless, right? There's no way to make an eye, and that's true. The only struggle that black can do is over here, but it looks just hopeless. Let's say black gives a try. White's gonna just capture the 2 stones. If black descends, white's gonna block here. I don't see where the 2 eyes gonna come from. That's just pretty dead for black. If black kosumis, the same thing happens. White's gonna atari like this, and there's no hope in making an eye over here. Black's missing too many moves. The correct move is for black to descend at R1. This is our very first tesuji in the game. Against this move, white pretty much has no choice. White has to follow up, otherwise white's gonna get killed. Black follows up with the kosumi here. White has to block, and then black plays P2. Now we're able to gain both moves in sente with the R1 tesuji. Well, that looks like the job is done for us, no? So the next move we can just turn in, which is the correct move, and then white blocks here, and with descend we got 2 eyes, right? That's game problem solved. We solved with 1 tesuji. If you look at the length of my video, you probably know that's not just the end of it. So the point where black turns over here, white's gonna force the kill with this attach. This is super annoying because it seems like black's just about to live, but he just can't. If you play this one, I can atari. This is a false eye. The same thing for this one. If black just plays like this, still false eye, right? This is pretty much a double digit cube problem. Black is not going to live, despite the fact that it really looks like he's about to live. So black has to deal with this. So black push, white let's go back a little bit. Right? Black's gonna draw the stone back. We said we can't play this L1, so we have to squeeze here, and then white pulls the stone back. It's at this point black is stuck again because black still does not have two eyes, and then how can you expect to have eyes at all in this situation? The answer is you don't really try to make two eyes anymore. Instead, you have to target white's problems inside here. This becomes a very difficult problem. Black first needs to exchange this. This is a sente because capturing here would give black the second eye. White connects, and now this is all a life and death problem inside this region. And it's actually a very, very hard one. So if black just clamps in, white's blocking on top. And then if black crawls, white is able to just squeeze black. And then there's nothing going on for black, right? So these two guys are going to be captured. This Atari is not going to work. This Atari will get captured. And then white has a lot of eyes. So we can see that the clamp at J2 does not work. What about the Atari over here? White connects. And then black seems to have a tesuji over here that is to attach. But let's first see if we play this one. This is more or less the same result. White is able to push here, and then black is dead inside. What about black attaches over here? It looks pretty interesting. If black attaches, white's going to squeeze over here. That also does not work for black. So now this H2 stone needs to escape, otherwise there's no chance to kill white. Let's say black throws in first, and then Atari. And then Atari over here, white's able to take. So now, not to say black cannot even escape these two guys after white Atari's over here, but even if white allows him to escape, white's still alive and black is dead. The entire thing is dead despite the fact you drag these back. They're just dead stuff that you drag back. This, for the same reason, is not going to work. White's already alive locally, not to say white can capture the two stones. So after some trials, we realized that the correct move is probably for us to attach here first. So now against this move, this is a tough problem for white now. How does white respond to this move? Let's say, for example, if white just, play a solid move, solid in quotation marks, because black can now Atari. And then black has a tesuji, just to fill in suicide first, making sure there's only one eye, and then black squeeze back, and then he can connect himself back. There's no chance that white can fight the liberty fight. Look at how many liberties black has. So white has to live inside in order to kill black. Okay, so this J3 is eliminated. What about the previous defense? The previous defense, does it work? Since we didn't exchange the Atari at K3, now we can actually Atari over here. White has to defend himself. Black runs out. And then when white connects over here, black now has a tesuji, that is to squeeze, to bump at G2. So I can give you a bit of time to read this out, but we can see that white obviously has a lot of liberty problems. if white connects, black's gonna Atari on this first line. This is an Atari. White has to take, then black can safely connect stone back, and we realize that white has one liberty, and therefore white is actually killed. The other defenses are not going to work. If white descends, black can Atari here, and then capture these guys. So the same result. Looks like white might have a tesuji, but actually this is a fake tesuji because black can Atari from behind. When white connects, black can further Atari from behind, and then this is a connect and die situation, which shows you that at this point, white is actually killed because there's no way to prevent these two guys from connecting back home. We say J3 does not work, J2 does not work. What are some of the other defenses? Well, let's say, for example, does this one work? We simply, since G2 is such a severe move, what about we just get rid of it? Here, if white squeezes at G2, black can have a tesuji, that is Atari at 01. This is a very, very interesting and extremely hard to find tesuji. So white, if white wants to kill the dragon, he obviously needs to connect. But after this, black is gonna Atari, white connects, and black can actually run here. Now we can suddenly see that this Atari is not gonna work out for white because we can just capture everything. White can obviously not Atari on top because we can capture the top. So that's game over, right? Not only black escaped, but it killed everything inside. So at this point, white does not even has the possibility to connect. White has to give up, and that shows you that, you know, once black captures 3 stones, there is an eye here. This throw-in doesn't really prevent N1 from becoming an eye. So that does not work. Obviously, for the same reason, this won't work because we can do the exact same thing, right? So after this, white is captured. So once black attaches over here, we see that a bunch of things that just don't work. Seems like the tesuji solves us the problem at this point. But the story does not end there. White has more resilient defenses waiting for you. At this point, white can actually connect at K3. We said that K3 is such a vital point, especially for protecting these 3 guys. So white's gonna connect at K3. So black played a very awesome tesuji, but tesujis that don't follow up with tesujis, you know, they're just useless efforts. We gotta follow up with nice moves. If black rushes to go back and connect back at F1, white is actually having a tesuji here at J4. And then we realize that white is alive because white has 2 eyes. If white's alive, black is obviously dead. So that shows you that's not going to work. Similar reason, if you play F1, it just looks better but doesn't work because white can live. So it seems like whatever we play, white's going to play J4. So we play J4. Why not? So when a black plays J4, the hard problem is thrown back to white, right? The ball is thrown back to white. White obviously cannot connect because white connects. This possibility making 2 eyes are already eliminated. Black just needs to connect himself back, and then white is dead. So the other ones are more or less for similar reasons. They're not gonna work out. If you play this one, well, this one does not work because there's an immediate a double Atari. White cannot defend both these three guys and this guy. So white has to prevent this double Atari. So let's say, for example, white connects over here. That's a very simple problem because black can now squeeze himself back. And then white only has one eye. For the similar reason, if white connects over here, we all know what to do, right? We will also squeeze ourselves back. So looks like J3, H4, and K4. None of those work. So that's the end of it for white, isn't it? Well, no. Life and death problem is always full of possibilities for both sides. White now has a very resilient tesuji, that is to connect at G3, right? It looks like we almost solved the problem as black, but no, there's still something going on. White connects at G3, and then what do we do? So at this point, I want to talk a little bit about this problem. This problem is a very ancient problem. So it's not something that I just invented by myself. It's an ancient problem that has a history. It's made by ancient Go players who are, the top players of ancient times. And the author of this problem actually solved it wrong. So his solution for black here is actually play G1. Well, this looks like a really nice tesuji. This is a forcing move, forcing white to block at F1. And then he suggested that black needs to follow up with this J3. Well, against this move, white cannot play this one. All right. The reason you cannot squeeze here is black's gonna Atari from behind. When white connects, black now has a double Atari at K4. So these three guys gonna die, right? So we can obviously tell that. So that's not gonna work, right? Squeezing here is not gonna work. Therefore, white has only one choice: is connect at K1. Black pushes through at J3, and then white Ataris. Black Ataris from behind. White cannot connect. If you connect, I can capture everything. Therefore, white has to fight this ko. And then the author suggested that this is a ko inside white's territory here. So black's dragon has a strong chance of surviving thanks to the ko over here. And that was the answer of the question back in the days. Well, after the pros of these days, they have analyzed this problem and they realize that there's a better solution. And the solution being that black can push through here directly. This is a super tesuji, right? This is a fantastic move. Well, white's only defense is to cut this off, right? Let's say if white connects over here. If white connects over here, actually this is not obvious. Black needs a tesuji at G1 right now. White is forced to block, and then black can connect over here. White has two liberties, realize that. So white is forced to connect himself back. Black is going to descend. So actually, black can just Atari from behind. White is forced to save the 3 stones, and then black can block at J1. And this is an I kills no I. White cannot fill in because we can just capture the entire group. That explains to you why white cannot connect at K4. For the similar reason, he cannot connect like this either because we can just play out the same variation. This is exactly the same thing. The only defense is for white to block at J2. And then black has a tesuji to throw in at k1. Well, that's a forcing move. If you don't want black to live, you have to capture this. And then black Ataris from behind. And then finally, in order to save white's life, white has to give up this trial to kill black's dragon, right? So what happens if white connects? Well, black can Atari at h1. This is a connect and die situation, right? If white connects, we can capture everything. At this point, it's better for white just to go back and live himself, right? This is this is how it's gonna end up. Black is able to make the N1 as well as the B6 Therefore, the dragon lives without the possibility of fighting a ko. So black is a clean alive in this problem, although the author suggested that it would be a ko inside white's territory. Very, very interesting problem. This is the very first video of this Go Magic series. I decided to create it because I found I found a lot of resources for this series, and I think a lot of my viewers would really like these interesting problems. But it's once again it's a trial, so let me know below the comment section what you think. Especially if you watched you've consistently watched my videos. Please let me know what you think of the new series. Do you like it? Do you think it's a series that I should put a lot more focus on? Any comments? Just message me under the video. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't. And I will see you next time.